All right, let's settle a classic debate. Army versus Marines. Now hold on, we're not talking about who's got the better dress blues. That's a whole other can of worms. No, we're going way deeper. We're looking at how two of the world's most legendary fighting forces build their leaders from the ground up.
So who actually does it better? You've got the United States Army and the United States Marine Corps. Both are famous, legendary even, for producing incredible leaders. But when you look under the hood, you find out their playbooks for getting there are, well, they're surprisingly different. So let's jump right in and break down how they do it, starting from the very first day.
You know, the path to becoming a leader starts the second a recruit steps off the bus. But what exactly is that path? Is it about starting a new job, learning a new profession? Or is it something way more intense, like a complete and total personal reinvention? This right here is the first major fork in the road between the Army and the Marines.
And really, it all comes down to the language they use. The Army's official doctrine talks about entering the Army profession. See, it's a structured community, a team of trusted professionals, soldiers and civilians alike. But the Marine Corps, they call it the transformation. Now that's a powerful word. That's not about learning a new skill set. It's about forging an entirely new identity.
And if you want to understand what transformation really means, just listen to this. This quote is pulled straight from the Marine Corps' own leadership manual. And get this, it's not from a four-star general, it's from a Marine's mother. She's not talking about her son's new career path. She's talking about the new man he became. That gets right to the heart of the Marine Corps philosophy.
Okay, so if their starting blocks are that far apart, what about the actual blueprints they use to build a leader? Let's take a look at the core models each service uses to define what a leader is supposed to be and what a leader is supposed to do. And here is where you can really see the difference in their thinking. The Army uses what it calls the Leadership Requirements Model. It's this super detailed framework that splits leadership into two buckets. Attributes, that's what a leader is, and competencies, that's what a leader does. Think of it like a very logical, systematic approach. The Marines, on the other hand, build everything around 14 timeless leadership traits. It's less of a corporate flowchart and more of a warrior's code, a list of virtues every single leader has to embody.
And how do they put those traits into practice? Well, that's where these 11 leadership principles come in. You could almost think of these as the 10 commandments for a Marine leader. They're direct, they're actionable, and they turn an abstract virtue like integrity into a concrete action, like set the example, or know your Marines and look out for their welfare.
All right, so underneath all the models and all the principles, there has to be a moral foundation, right? A guiding compass. So what are the absolute core values that are supposed to guide every single decision? Well, here again, the Army and Marines march down different paths. The Army gives you a handy acronym, LDRSIP. It spells out 7 very specific, very clear values. There's no ambiguity there. The Marines, they boil everything down to a powerful, foundational trio: honor, courage, and commitment. It's a simple, unforgettable mantra. So you see the difference? One gives you a detailed roadmap, the other gives you a guiding star to navigate by.
Now, all this theory is great, but how does it actually hold up when the bullets start flying? Both services use these incredible stories of real-world heroism in their own training manuals to show what their philosophies look like in action. So let's look at 2 of those stories right now.
This is First Sergeant Bradley Cassell in Fallujah 2004. He is horribly wounded, but his first instinct is not to save himself, it's to literally use his own body as a shield for another Marine. He refuses medical attention until his guys are safe, and even then, bleeding out, he's still in the fight, leading them, encouraging them. And that right there, that's not just one man being unbelievably brave. His actions are the living, breathing embodiments of a core Marine idea: faithfulness. It's that unbreakable bond that's forged in fire and shared hardship. It means you take care of the Marine to your left and the Marine to your right. Period.
Okay, now let's look at the Army's example. This is then Lieutenant Robert Nett in the Philippines, back in World War II. He gets wounded, but he refuses to stop. He keeps leading his men forward. Then he gets wounded again in the final assault and still refuses to relinquish command. His focus is on one thing and one thing only: completing the mission. Only after he makes sure the advance can continue does he finally step back. And Lieutenant Nett's absolute iron-willed determination perfectly illustrates a core Army competency right from their leadership model: gets results. Now, I know it sounds almost corporate, right? But in the chaos of combat, it means one thing: accomplish the mission no matter what. His actions show a leader focused on the task, on supervising and achieving that objective, exactly like the doctrine says.
So, what does this all boil down to? When you strip it all away, you've got two profoundly different ways of thinking that somehow both produce these incredible leaders. It really is the ultimate comparison of a system versus an ethos.
So, the Army's approach? They give their leaders a detailed, comprehensive system. The leadership requirements model is this robust framework, and it's designed to build a professional who can handle any challenge. It's about ensuring competence and consistency across a massive, diverse force. It's about mastering a profession.
And the Marine Corps? Well, they focus on an ethos. It's less about a system you need to learn and more about an identity you have to become. The transformation, the core values, the leadership traits, it all points toward forging a very specific kind of person, a warrior with a shared, unbreakable spirit. It's about embodying an identity.
So, who builds the better leader? The systematic professional from the Army or the transformed warrior from the Marine Corps? You know, maybe that's the wrong question to ask. Maybe the real takeaway here, for any of us who want to lead in any field, is what can we learn from both? Do you build a better team with a perfect system or with an unbreakable ethos? The best answer might just be yes.